I do not mind telling you that I am fascinated by the Titan sub. Do you find this as fascinating as I do? Do you find this fascinating? Every time I think, well, that about does that story, more comes out. What is it about this story? Human remains were found today, just today. Remains of what? What is that even like? What is that even remotely like? Can you imagine? And this is going to be, remember, there were more billionaires per square inch on that submarine than any place else. Unbelievable. Think about it. It is incredible. There were more billionaires per square inch on that boat. And this is going to turn into, if not a criminal investigation, there's going to be litigation like you can't believe. What do you think that looked like? What was that? What was that like? Just what was that moment like where all of a sudden, boom? Did you see pictures? Have you seen what happens? They took a tanker and they showed it in a vacuum. It just, boom, it's like a can. It's just incredible. This Stockton rush. People are asking, what role will liability waivers play? It's going to be fascinating. Who knows? Because if a liability waiver, if a waiver that you use or something that you believe to be a part of this, if it deals with ordinary negligence and the like, this is horrible to me. Old Glory, you shouldn't see our, there we go. Sorry about that. It's horrible. Forgive me. A regular liability waiver that deals with, ordinary regular negligence. This is something beyond. And you're going to hear people more and more coming out. And crowdsourcing. Experts, people who will find interviews, people who will find statements and comments. What's the question you want to know? And then there's a feeling of these people who don't like these folks. It's this weird kind of social media crowd. This weird kind of trolling, like they deserve what they get. That people, that Darwin was right, but you stupid people, what do you expect? See that? Social media does that to people. It brings people out of the woodwork. It's fascinating. They hate these people. I have no idea why. I say, what did they ever do to you? I don't care, but it's stupid. And I don't feel anything for these people. Don't you understand? I don't feel anything. Why? Because it's a social media. And I'm now in a scrum. And when I'm in a scrum with my fellow scrummers, we don't care about this. Because these people are stupid, right? Am I right? They have now different, they're talking about how this didn't happen before. And here's the best part. You're on this suppository, this can, interesting, and the can is right there with a drape. You're in this can. It's horrible. And you're sitting like this. There were more billionaires, I keep saying, per square inch than any place on the planet. No GPS, for the most part. Where are they? They put GPS, like my friend says, on sharks. They can find a dolphin within 2 feet of the ocean, but not with billionaires. And don't give me that Astor business again about the Federal Reserve. Please, I beg you. It's an incredible issue. Think about all of the attendant stories. Before they boarded, of course, the submersible. By the way, what's the difference between a submersible and a submarine. Oh, get our phraseology. A submersible, well, a submarine is powered on its own. It leaves, it comes back, it goes underneath. It's manned by people. It's basically a boat underwater. But a submersible is different. It's normally attended to something else. There's a mothership. It may have thrusters. It drops down. It comes back up. That's about it. But they signed these waivers and signed by a person who planned to go on an expedition, required passengers to acknowledge the risks involved within the trip on the Titan vessel and any support. The waiver, which I think a number of sources reviewed, said that passengers could experience physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, death. I mean, they went crazy. It makes it clear that the vessel is experimental, constructed of materials that have not been widely used for manned submersibles. And the waiver could be extremely critical as families of those who perished were considering illegal options. Remember, these were billionaires. Experts said the investigation into the disaster uncovers will determine much about this. Now, the release form, interesting, liability waivers are typical before doing, skydiving and recreational stuff. It carries some kind of risk. By signing it, of course, you're saying that you accept it, assumption of risk. I understand. There's two waivers. There's assumption of risk for negligence and consent in intentional things. For example, boxing, you can't go into a boxing ring. You're actually kind of assuming the risk of the negligence of something going wrong, but you're basically saying you can hit me. I'm consenting to it. It's a very interesting story. But here is the thing. The legality of these depends on the various states. Depends upon various... Is this in international waters? Some states recognize, maybe some don't. Signed waivers have been upheld in cases involving scuba divers in Florida, skiers in Colorado. And the court weighs the other factors, including whether the person signing it really understood it. Was this a knowing and intelligent waiver? That's just part of it. And what do you think that looked like? When they said, hey, we found debris, what do you think the debris looks like? Think about this. Also, read this. Read what happens. You see, when people get together like this, they don't want to show any kind of form of sadness. Never in social media, never in a scrum. Oh, no way. You cannot show any kind of passion or compassion. What am I saying, passion? You can't do this. Oh, no. Nobody wants to. You must be absolutely brutal. Brutal, I say, when it comes to this. You can't show anything. And you got to ask yourself, what is it that motivates these people to do this? What is it? And what happens when you realize you are going to die? Your life is going to end now. It's a subject that's fascination. Sometimes they say people are overwhelmed by a sense of calm, by a sense of eerie resignation. It's a fascinating theory. Fascinating. But there's no empathy among you. There's no sympathy. Empathy maybe empathic, where you're kind of feeling like, I wonder what they felt like. Imagine when they say goodbye, and there you are with a man with his son, and all of a sudden they say it could have been like that. Boom! Gone. What happens to you? Does your body implode too? Not just the submersible, not just the boat itself, but you just. I've always been fascinated by forensic pathology and what happens to the human body in stress and trauma. What happens? What does it look like? What is it really like? Have you seen people who've died in the most horrible of ways when they exsanguinate? How much blood is in the body? 6 liters. The remains that there is nothing, because there's nothing holding us really together. Nothing. But yet we feel this sense of durability. The head, there's nothing. Look at your vertebrae. That's it. Your spinal, your cervical bone, so to speak. That's it. One. Done. Finished. Simple. How we don't die more often is not even funny. How we do this every single day. How we just withstand this stuff. And the people who have been through the most horrific of events later on define themselves somehow escaping it. I find it beyond fascinating. Titanic. There's something else. Titanic's. There's a YouTuber. Did you see this story too? Leave it to the great. Video showed debris from. Let me see. Titan sub built by MacGyvering off-the-shelf parts, according to a journalist. There's a diving YouTuber. YouTuber shares footage of his canceled Titan mission. YouTuber Jake Kohler, best known as Dalmid, shared footage of his canceled Titan expedition with OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush and Titanic expert Paul-Henri Nagriole before they died. In the video, I'm sharing my personal experience with OceanGate, blah, blah, blah. And he goes through this, and it's fascinating. It's incredible. It's incredible. And how we're going to find out so much from people who just are regular folks who will study this and look at this and wonder aloud how this thing happens. Fascinates me, my friends. Let's see what happens. What a great problem for AI to solve. You know what? Could very well be. Could very well be. And also machine learning. It's a very good point. It can teach itself how to do this, how it can figure this out. And how do they know about remember when you have debris and remains from 9/11, Challenger, any kind of an accident involving combustibles, what happens to DNA, what happens to bones don't, obviously they don't necessarily, they're not crushed. And you think about skin and hair and bones and teeth. It's fascinating. Ladies and gentlemen, Crazy Mike's Bike Shop got a few screws loose. Crazy Mike's Bike Shop has got you covered. Stop by to fix your bike or buy a new one, and that you will ride off into the sunset. Crazy Mike's Bike Shop. We're all kinds of weird. Thank you so much, Crazy Mike. How kind and how clever. Thank you. Salute. Whatever happened to breathing that special liquid stuff that was in the 90s movies? I don't know what you're talking about, Captain. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. Ironic how we have another Watergate while an OceanGate event happens. Instant plankton food wouldn't be big enough pieces for a fish to eat. Yeah. Where's Amber Heard? The level of how do you explain why people find it funny to laugh at death? Where does that work? How does that work? Is there anything, because these people were rich, do you find yourself thinking, I don't care about them? I don't care about them. If they were poor, if they were, let's say, on a kids on a high school trip, some kind of an adventure, then same situation. I don't know why they'd be doing this, but you would feel completely different. But because these were rich people, you don't feel any compassion. Why is that? Isn't that interesting? Doesn't that make you wonder? You see, what you are is, believe it or not, you're a psychopath. And the reason why, you're selective. Your heart and your head are disconnected. You don't feel passionate. You feel nothing for these people. You feel absolutely nothing. And when you're in a group of people, Gallows humor takes over. And you rush to see who can come up with the best joke. Who can be the grossest and the crudest and isn't that interesting? I love that as well. There was I will never forget, like I told you. This is why I've always been so fascinated by the work of forensic pathology. Too bad, by the way, that they don't pay more. It's not a very lucrative form of business at all. Sad to say, it doesn't work like that. There are some jurisdictions, some cities that don't have any forensic pathologist. They have maybe an undertaker or a coroner or maybe an undertaker or something, but there's not somebody who was there who was able to look at this, put it together, and be able to testify in court as to what it is. And it's so interesting. And I hate when people say something is gross. That's the thing that I will never forget. One time when I was a kid, I remember, I think it was in high school. And there's this place in, how do I say this? It was a place in Tampa called the Broarine Street Bridge. You might know where it is. And I pulled over. There was all kinds of activity. And they pulled over. And I looked. And they were just pulling a guy out of the water. He had drowned. And what I found so interesting was that it looked like bubbles, like soap coming out of his nose. What do you think that was for? Did you know that? What do you think bubbles coming out of a nose would be from? Where would that be? Why would that be? Why would that be? Because I asked about this. What do you think so? What do you think this? Think about this. Why would this happen? Why would there be this? Why would there be? Why would there be this? Gases? Nope. But it's a good guess. It's a little much to say that having grim humor as a vehicle to process bleak realities means that one is a sociopath, but I don't have authority. Glasses, so what do I know? Screws about. I think it means that you are a sociopath, but in your particular case, a psychopath, and demented. But thank you very much. Brains, no. Something called pulmonary surfactant. When it's washed out of the endothelium, pulmonary surfactant. What is a surfactant for? What does a surfactant do? Surfactant you see in soap, and it lowers the surface tension. You know, did you ever see a bug? They walk around water, the top of water, right? Because of the surface tension. You put a couple of drops of soap, and the bug just slides right through. And that surfactant allows blood, whatever, in different parts to permeate and to not exsanguinate, what do you call? Oh God, not perfuse. There's a better word for it. Anyway, and that comes out as you're drowning. So that mixed water and breathing, whatever, has that kind of a bubble look. It's a fascinating. The look. Michael Baden years ago found a body, or there was a body that they had, and they thought for the longest time it was decomposed and there were maggots, and they wanted to know something about maybe the tox screen. Well, they couldn't do any toxicological stuff because of the fact that it was so decomposed. What they did was they took the maggots and they ground it. They put it into a blender. And from that, they did a tox screen on that, and they found, lo and behold, the drugs that were in the body. I found that to be fascinating. I just using your head like that is beautiful. There's a place called the Boneyard, University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and it allows people who donate their body to be, let's say, thrown into a field or buried in a shallow grave or to allow to decompose and putrefy. And it allows forensic pathologists to learn in a controlled setting the putrefaction process, almost the titration of decomposition. And you add tremendous amounts to forensic pathology by virtue of you leaving your body to decompose. Ted Smith says, I love you. I love Crazy Mike's bike shop. They have every bike you can imagine. I got my new bike the other day, and it made me feel young again. Stop by today. Thank you, Ted Smith. Thank you. Thank you so very much for this. Have you ever gone to a funeral and saw how people try their best to say stupid things like, he looks like himself. Doesn't he look good? Doesn't Uncle Joe look good? No, he doesn't. He looks good, doesn't he? No. He looks dead. No, it looks like he's sleeping. Well, don't sleep like that. No, he doesn't look like he's sleeping. He looks dead. He doesn't look good at all. What are you talking about? They always say that. We are so ridiculous when it comes to death and the process of it. It's a very simple concept. The funniest thing I ever saw in my life was a relative of mine who they put glasses on him. Glasses on a dead man. He says, well, people recognize with the glasses. They're going to know who he is. They're at the funeral. His name is on the door. They're going to walk in. They're going to see all of us likewise there. And they're going to look in the box and say, yep, that's him all right. Even without the glasses. Well, he always wore glasses. He didn't wear them to bed. Well, that's true. He's dead. And you just go through this ridiculous. I still can't handle cemeteries. I still can't handle that. And I would love, even though it's a tragic situation, I would love to see, what does this look like? Tell me, what does this look like? Mummies, mummification, complete and total disarticulation of everything, reduced to, here 1 minute and just gone the next. And I can't wait. You're going to be hearing so much about people who knew something was up. They're going to be told, we knew this was up. We knew it. We knew it. Isn't this a delightful story? I think it is. Not delightful, but fascinating. All right, dear friends. That's it. I thank you. By the way, Ted Smith, thank you. And Crazy Mike's Bike Shop, I want to thank you as well. Today's been a wild and a woolly day. I want to thank you not for what you are, but for what you appear to be. I may also tell you, our good friends, speaking of which, our good friends at mypillow.com, don't forget them. Don't forget those great guys. That great Mike Lindell. It's an American-owned company. And if you use promo code Lionel, you get a free gift. I know what you're saying. Wait a minute. Aren't gifts free? That's true. But they're there for you, my friends. They're there for you. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. There's a link right there. There's a link for you right there. Go there and buy everything they have. Everything. And you know what they sell more of? You're not going to believe this. Slippers. Yep. They sell more slippers than you can imagine. Plus, they have all kinds of overstock sales. And you know what? And they help us, and we help them. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious night. Thank you so much for being with us. Remember that great line from Martin Mel. Thank you all for coming, or however you reacted. We'll see you tomorrow, again, 7 a.m. 8, not 7, 8. Have a great and a glorious day. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell always so you know about live streams. And we'll see you mañana. Have a great and a glorious, be careful, great and glorious day. No submersibles for you, please. We'll talk tomorrow. Have a great day. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dead.